Good morning. Good morning. And I know I'm a couple of minutes late getting on here, but I want you to um, visualize this. But first, let me say, as you get here, make sure you say good morning. Let me know that you're here. And if you haven't given StreamYard permission to see what your name is, definitely let me know who you are so that I know who I'm talking to and who's sitting right here with me, right? But what I wanted to share is this morning, as I always, I'm listening to some um, podcast and some YouTube things, and I'm reading and I'm doing all these things before I get here. And I had this idea of the affirmation and the journal prompt. And so I'm writing it on my card. So I've got an index card here. There, I've got the journal prompt on one side and the affirmation on the other. And I get in front of the computer and realize I left that in the other room. So I go to the other room, I come back, and I'm typing and trying to get this into my notes here so that I can share it easier. And the visual that came to me as I looked up, and it was 2 minutes after, and it's like, it was the God, what is the name of the movie? Is it Risky Business? And the old movie. And in that there's a scene in there where Tom Cruise is he's in his in a shirt and he's just in his socks and he slides across the floor, to perform or to pretend to perform or whatever. And it was like it almost felt like I was sliding into place to get here with you guys on time. And obviously I didn't make it exactly, and that's okay. I'm giving myself permission to not always be dead on the spot, because that's one of my quirky things is that my mother always instilled in me that you are on time. Not only that, you're early. So if I'm not early to something, I feel like I'm late. And so sometimes that can be where I had rather be 30 minutes early to something than to be 5 minutes late. And it can get a little kind of intense sometimes to be around me if somebody else is not on the same wavelength. Um, my children's father, he passed away many years ago. Um, but the thing with him was he was never on time for anything, never on time. And I didn't even realize that about him until after we got married, because he really made a great effort when we were dating to be on time. There was a couple of times he was late and he had amazing excuses. So I did not even register that that just might be a quality that he had. And so I learned as we were married that I lied to him anytime we had something to go to, an event or a gathering, I lied to him. Most of the time it was about an hour that I would tell him. If we were supposed to be there at 6 p.m., I would tell him we'd have to be there at 5. And we still sometimes would be a few minutes late, even though I had lied by an hour. And I don't know if it started catching on. There was one time I did this all the time, right? And because I don't like to be late. And one time we got somewhere and it didn't take us that hour to get there. And he said, I can't believe there's so many people that are late getting here. And it was really, we were early for once. But that was something, and it was, I learned how to deal with it just to make it feel more comfortable for me. And so I was, a lot of times he was on time. But he was so amazing about so many things. Time was not one of them. And he even had this one time, I'll share a story while I'm waiting for people to pop in. Um, there was one time my son he played football, and he was in middle school, I guess. Yeah, middle school. Maybe it was when he first started high school, but hell, that doesn't really matter. Anyway, he was young. I think it was middle school. And because he was actually, no, well, let me take this back. Oh my God, I'm just messing this whole damn story up. Okay, let me take this back. This was when he was playing baseball and it was one of the county leagues, right? And so they were going to have their, the parade for the season, right? And so my husband had this really big flatbed truck because he did a lot of hauling big equipment and he did all different kinds of things. And so he said he would let the kids be on the back of this truck for the parade, so they could stand out on there. And he put the sides up and all that stuff. And this was where they would throw candy out to the people that were standing and celebrating, right? So right before it's time for him to go, and this is what he would typically do, he suddenly decided that he needed to wash the truck. So he goes and he washes the truck. And after he gets through washing the truck and he's drying it off and everything, he recognizes that the wheels are a bit faded. So he gets out this can of whatever it was to clean these. It was the wheel, not the tire, the clean the wheel up to his expectation. And my son is sitting there, saying, Dad, we've got to go. The parade is going to be starting. We've got to go. We've got to go. Do you know they missed the whole damn parade because he was so busy focused on this? And so sometimes I told him I thought he was very ADD because it was like he could not let things go. It's like, who cares if the wheels don't look exactly like they want to? Do that another time. Get your ass on the road. And we would have some really lit up conversations about some of this stuff. And I felt so sorry for my son and the team because then they were all getting in the people's pickup trucks and different things to take care of this. And back then there weren't cell phones. So it was like, it was a big thing to me. Now, my son, for whatever reason, I don't know, he said, "It's okay, Daddy. It's not that big a deal." Now, whether that's really how he felt, because he sometimes was really forthcoming and sometimes not. And it was like, that was an experience that I never wanted to feel again. So that's why I began to really, really um, uh, tell quite the big fibs a lot of times to get us to places on time, so things like that wouldn't happen. And so, well, anyway, all of that because I was 2 minutes late, right? Quite funny. All right, so oh, I didn't, let me see, I got to copy and paste this thing, right? So is it going to let me see? Today it's letting me post. I do not understand this because they told me yesterday when I went through this whole thing with StreamYard, they told me yesterday that it was the Facebook regulations that were not allowing me um, to post in there, and I was having to go into the Facebook group and post it in there and have it shared here, and today it's letting me. Now, let's not, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. That's what, the saying. And I'm just going to be appreciative that today I get to do this, and we will see what tomorrow will bring, right? And maybe it's an every other day thing. All right. So the affirmation for today, da, 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 da. Let me get it shared here. Hold on, hold on. All right. So the affirmation for today is, I am becoming the best version of myself every day. And I don't even remember what I was. Good morning, Heather. Great to have you here this morning. I don't even remember exactly what I was listening to this morning that all of a sudden this was the affirmation that came to my mind, and I just had to share that. And I think part of that is because, I feel like I'm always growing and evolving, and anybody that um, is wanting to become the best version of themselves, they always are growing. What is that saying? If you're not growing, you're dying. And so we're always evolving and changing. Either we're changing and evolving for the better, or we're going for the maybe not the better, right? So, before I get any further, Heather, I wanted to ask. I know you said good morning, and you're from Virginia, but is have you been able to check out any of the affirmations and the journal prompts that I've been doing, or maybe you got to watch the Monday live? Because I'm trying to think back. I remember seeing you pop up on a couple of things, and I can't remember where, because you're new to the group. And thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. You are much appreciated. And just a quick reminder that the thing that we do in the group is we share our self care for the day. And so you will go into the group, make lasting change. And because this is being streamed out in different places. So um, you go into the group and you hashtag peachy vibes, and you share what your self care is for the day. And a lot of people use this affirmation and journal prompt as their self care. And there's a lot of other things. If you go back and look, there's some amazing things that people are doing for self care. So I just wanted to make sure I shared that with you really quick, and just ask you, if you've been able to jump in and see some things and get to meet a few people. I hope so. Yes, last night and yesterday, I'm really trying to make changes in my life. Perfect. Or you're in the perfect place. We do something every day that helps us all to change and move into the version of ourselves that we want to be every day, right? And the thing is that a lot of times we really can create some stress and anxiety in our lives, because what stress usually is that we want to be somewhere that we're not. And so, to reduce the stress and anxiety of that, we only need to make a 1% change every day to exponentially change our life. So, that kind of calms it down a little bit. So, we realize we don't have to learn, or we don't have to climb the mountain today, right? We just need to get a little bit on the threshold of the mountain and start up the trail. And not to say that your change is a mountain, it's just a good metaphor to use. And so today's affirmation: I am becoming the best version of myself every day. And notice every day is in all caps, because every day we get to choose. And so we choose. And anything we say after the words I am are exponentially powerful. And our subconscious mind will grasp onto that, and it will take it as truth, no matter whether it is or not. That's why you have to be so careful about saying I am with anything, because even if you're saying something as simple as being tired, or being broke, or being, and I notice I'm not putting the I am ahead of it, because I don't want to grasp onto that. Or a bad communicator, always late. What are those things that you find yourself sometimes saying after I am? And I would look at them and see, is that really who I want to be? And if it's not, change it. So you can always change it to where you can say, I haven't been on time yet. However, I'm learning. Whatever you want to do, but you can change it to where it's not the I am not what you want, right? So with your affirmation, you put it on your index card, or you put it on a sticky note, and or you do like me, and I put it on my bathroom mirror with chalk marker. So I'll be doing that when I get off here today, and I will share that as I have time to get that in there, in the group. Put it as a screensaver on your phone. This is a really, really good one to put as a screensaver on your phone. Put it on anything you can to have it in your face so that you can see it and you read it and you remind it every single time you say this, especially if you give it some emotion, then your subconscious mind is going to say, wait a minute, she is becoming the best version of herself every day. Amazing. And it will look for evidence of that. That's why when we make blanket statements that don't serve us, the outer environment, the people that we come in contact with, the things we see on TV, all of that stuff will actually mirror what we've said. Because we are looking at it through our lens of the day, our lens of who we have been. And we want to take those glasses off that are filtered by the experiences that we've had in our life up till now, right? Because we can make a choice, we can choose to change our filter, our lens of the world to be what we want to be the best version of ourselves. Or we can keep the same lens of where we've been. And like I said, we get to choose. We choose every single day. And that's where a choice is powerful. So you decide, do you choose to make the changes to be the best version of yourself every day? And if that is true, if you do, then this is the affirmation that you plaster wherever you can. You can even go on Facebook or Instagram and share. This is what I learned today in my group. Here is my affirmation and my journal prompt. And if you want to, send them to the group. But I want to be very, very selective in the people that we send into the group. And I talked about this a little bit on Monday, is that I look at this community as an amazing group of people that if I had a big enough yard, and I don't know, because people don't take up that much space, right? To bring in what I can't remember, is there 222 people in the community now? I can't remember. However, if I could have a fire in the my fire pit lit up and all of us out in the yard and sitting around the fire pit and talking and learning and growing together and sharing stories and vulnerabilities and just being our community. You know, when you're about to invite someone, I want you to think, if I had them in that environment, would I want them to be there? Because I have had, and I have done this before, didn't even realize what I was doing. And I would go into a group and they would say, invite your friends. So I would just go in, I would random invite people from my friends list. And they may not really be people I even knew. They weren't really people that I knew anything about them, so, be selective and bring people into the group that you would love to have as part of the community. And all you have to do, if you want to do that, and I'm still working on creating some things to share with you guys to be able to effectively invite people a lot better. Some messages and maybe some posts and different things like that. I'm working on it. Okay. Don't give me a hard time. I'm working on it. The thing is there's a contest going right now that the person who sends in the most people this way gets a gift. And so you have to make sure now everybody has to answer all the questions or they don't get entered. Right now I've got 3 people in the queue that have not answered the questions, and I'm reaching out to them because if I reach out a couple of times to tell them, hey, go ahead and come back in and answer the questions, and they don't do it, then they're just deleted. And that's not to be mean or anything, but it is protecting our community. If they're not willing to put forth the effort to answer the questions, they don't deserve to be in here with us. Okay. I'm just saying. And because we want this community to be so powerful. And we want the right people in here. And it's not that we're telling people who are right and who are wrong. No, we're just saying if you're not willing to do what it takes to be part of the community, and all it is answering the friggin' questions, right? If they can't do that, then they would not participate and they would not be supportive and encouraging in the group. That's just how I feel about it. So it's a hard, fast rule. And so if you want to send them, you can send them to vickypoole.com. That's VICKIEPOOLE.com. That will send them right into the questions, and just tell them, how much you're getting out of the community and what you require from them, and that is for them to come in and answer the questions. Okay, I've done that enough. Let me get to the journal prompt, because it's a delicious one. All right, so, I hit the wrong thing. Okay, here we go. Journal prompt. All right, our journal prompt for today is, how can I create experiences to step into the best version of me? And so notice I put experiences, because the experiences of our life and the way we interpret experiences, the way we deal with experience, the way we create experiences are what makes us who we are. And so we choose how we respond to things, right? And I will admit, I had a friend one time, and he was quite depressed a lot. And he asked me one time, he said, how do you stay so happy? And I said, well, I just choose to be happy. And he said, that doesn't make any sense. He said, you can't just choose to be happy. And I said, yes, you can. And maybe he had been in his level of depression or whatever for such a long time, he just didn't see a way out. And, over the years, we lost connection. I don't know whatever happened to the guy. He was a great person, but was he deep in not being able to see the good in life? And I really feel like I've had a lot of things that have happened to me in my life, just like most people. And so when I say I'm happy, it's because when something happens to me, I don't just look at that experience and try to figure out what came from it, right? What I do is, what was the lesson I learned? What was it there to teach me? How did it help me to grow to be who I want to be? Because everything that happens to us is something that happens for us, no matter how horrible it is. And I've had some things happen, okay? So it's not like I'm this being that's never had any hardship, and that's why I can say that, okay? And so we can choose to see the joy, the lesson that came from it. Because I will say, when I have a podcast, for those that don't know, and it's called Today's Dream, Tomorrow's Reality. So check it out if you want to check it out. I would love it. And if you do, make sure you watch some episodes and you subscribe, and share, do all the things that help this get to a bigger audience. And it is in several places. I have it on my YouTube channel. I have it on Spotify and iTunes and Callcast. But what I do in that is some things I'm just talking, but most of the time it is morphed to be such an amazing thing. I tell people stories, or I help people tell their own stories. And most of the stories are amazing, the things that people have come through. And as they get to the other side, it's like now they see what their purpose was. Their purpose is to help people not to have that happen to them. Their purpose is to guide people with something. I had a gentleman that had diabetes and lost a limb from diabetes, right? And you would think, there's a lot of people that would be woe's me, and they would use that as an excuse to not make it in life. And what he did, which I thought was just brilliant, is he used that as the catalyst that made him, he's a coach, he does all these different things. And he said it's the best thing that ever happened to him, because without that, he would have not gotten into this place. And there are some people with some amazingly not so good stories, and they say the same thing, that that thing happening right there changed the trajectory of my life, and I love my life now. And so when we can look at the things that have happened in our life, the experiences that weren't great, and see how it changed the trajectory of our lives and made things better, amazing. Now, some people will see the things that happened and how it made the trajectory not so good. And that can change, because it if you can change how you see things, how you view things, you can change how it is going. It is all our choice, nobody else's. The only thing we can ever change and control is us, nothing else. And so that's why this is important. How can I create experiences to step into the best version of me? Because all the things that we're doing, we're learning, we're growing, we're becoming. And we can choose to do that on purpose or by default. And for me, I want to be on point, on purpose, and creating who I want to be. So I look at it as this. I do, and I'm a life coach, a health coach, a master transformational coach, and a hypnotist. And one of the things that I do with a lot of my clients, and I do this quite often, is I help them to visualize this future person that they want to be, that they choose to be, that they want to be, and they can see it right there. But not only that, I take them through the process so they can actually step into being that person and become that person. And it is such a powerful, powerful thing. And this is the way to begin doing that process. You can um, you can imagine the experiences, and you can imagine doing those experiences and stepping in to that person that you are through all of that, right? All right, so I have to pop off here, and I hope this has been helpful for you, Heather. And a reminder to anybody that is watching the replay: make sure you put hashtag replay. Let me know that you were here, and share with me if this is something that was great for you. Like I said, I create a lot of these because something pops into my mind in the morning, and I create it right before I get on here. And this is one of them, because I'm all the time thinking about, when as I aspire to be what I want to be, then who do I have to be to get there? Thank you. Thank you. And as I'm thinking of that, I know there are different ways that I should stand, I should walk, and I should be. Because if I'm embodying that person, I want to go ahead and start experiencing how that feels now. And that's what I'm encouraging you to do right now, with how can I create experiences to step into the best version of me. All right. So I will see you guys tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time again. And please make sure you go into the group, share your self care for the day with hashtag Peachy Vibes. And for all those who come in and watch the replay, hashtag replay. And have a joyous, joyous day. And again, thank you, Heather, for being here with me this morning. And your energy has inspired me even more. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And see you tomorrow, guys. Mwah.